Call this meeting to order. Would everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call, Mr. Dawson?
Harold Ford.
Here.
Trustee Connor.
Here.
Trustee Short is absent. Trustee McCauley.
Here.
Trustee Trombley. Superintendent Sullivan.
Here.
Deputy Clerk Barkle. Here.
We will get that name one of these times.
Oh, I got it. I just can be extra careful.
Everybody has been copied with the minutes of our previous meeting. Were there any corrections or additions to these minutes? And if not, may I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Trustee Connor, seconded by Trustee McCauley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. At this time, if there was anybody that would like to address the village board before we go into our regular session.
Yes, I would, sir. As you all should have a copy of a letter that was put together by myself, Ronnie, and Woody in regards to the current smoking policy in our personnel policy. The fourth paragraph of the personnel policy, it states, I quote, "Employees found smoking inside village facilities, vehicles, or on the job will be considered in violation of this policy and will be disciplined in accordance with the provisions of the Village of Champlain personnel policy." We feel that paragraph is a little bit too restrictive and request that you review the policy for possible revisions. On the letter that the three of us signed, we reworded that particular paragraph in another way to give you an option or something to look at for what we feel would be more appropriate. Attached is also a copy of the Town of Plattsburgh smoking policy, and we contacted the towns of Chazy, Champlain, Moores, and the village of Rouse's Point, none of which have written smoking policies at this time.
So, and I see on your cover letter, we request the words "or on the job" be removed from the statement to our policy. A second sentence stating smoking in public should be kept to a minimum should be added.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to voice my opinion on this because I need to say something. When this all conspired, when this all was put into our personnel policy, I myself am a smoker, not as bad as I used to be, probably a third of what I used to be. Do I want to be a smoker? No. But I do have reservations about some of the things that are brought into light by certain individuals or certain organizations that create a hostile atmosphere for smokers. And usually that's what happens. I myself, where I work, there is a smoking policy. I believe that anybody that works at any place has a smoking policy. Where I work, we smoke on our break at a designated area. There is no smoking in the buildings. I don't believe that there's any government agency that you smoke in the building. You have people for their health and for the this and for the that. I understand that. But if anybody's ever been to CBPH, they even actually have a smoking area that they have to go and smoke. These are our health providers. There's no smoking in their building, but they have a designated area. I have a problem with not having a designated area. Okay. Do I believe we need to smoke in the building? No. Do we need to smoke in the vehicle? No. I don't smoke in my new car. My whole main concern about this is, and I was reading this town policy because, like I said, it really involves me a lot. You know, they have the communique stating in here, if there is somebody with you, even in the vehicle, if everybody agrees to smoke, you can smoke. If they don't, they don't. Same thing in the work area. They have the same thing. If they all agree you can smoke, you can smoke. If not, you can't smoke. Well, see, I believe smoking inside is not even an issue. It shouldn't be done, as far as I'm concerned. Because we have to respect the people that don't smoke.
Agreed.
Agreed. To say not have a cigarette in the 8 hours that you are on the job, I think is a little bit stringent. But that's my opinion. I'm only talking for myself. I'm not talking for any of the board members now. Because none of these board members smoke. Okay. It's a habit that I'm sure that none of us are really pleased with. And I'm sure that some of us have tried to give it up. I know myself, I've tried, and I'm to the point where I think we're going to do this, but again, thinking and doing are two different things. And I don't know if the board will go with anything, okay? I'm just making my point. I do believe we need a designated area. I do believe that we need a safe designated area. Absolutely, and I mean this, absolutely no smoking in any building. That I will not put up with, even myself being a smoker. And my whole thought behind this, if anybody is caught smoking in the building, they should be reprimanded, written up. Certain offenses will give them time off. I can agree with some of the policy, I can agree with none of the policy. My opinion is, and I stated it before, I think the people that do smoke need to have an area. The people that don't smoke have an area. Again, we're going back to, we all work, we all pay taxes, we all do our thing. We all, to me, I'm sure we're all supposed to be equal except for a smoker. Well, I disagree with some of that. But as far as the board, now that's a board decision. A policy is in place. The board put the policy in place. The board has to deviate or change wording or do whatever they want with it. They have to do it. It's not a one-person committee.
Right.
Okay. This, from what I can gather, has created somewhat of a to-do in our poor little village, and it's too bad. I said all I'm going to say on it, And I would like to hear opinions of the board members at this time. Because this, I think, is an issue that needs to be brought up. I'm glad that you're here this evening. I'm glad that you felt strong enough to make this, to sign this, and to be present when it was presented. That tells me one thing. Would anybody like to speak on this smoking policy?
I agree with Mayor Laporte. I think, you know, there is a time and place for everything. Buildings, vehicles are definitely not the place to smoke. There's a designated area somewhere on our grounds, away from anything that could be harmful to anybody. But that's the way it should be. I guess one area that is tough to address is if you're out on a job site, where can you smoke? I mean, you're out in the public, you may be on near or on somebody's private property, close to it. I guess that's a tough decision right there. Should you have a place to smoke? Sure. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Any organization, business does have a designated area for that purpose. But again, it's not within a building or vehicles. So I guess I totally agree with Mayor Laporte that maybe this should be revised. I'm not sure when that actually was put in there. I don't remember being on board when it was, but I guess I wasn't aware of how restrictive it was. Because the way it says, I mean, basically it says you can't smoke at all while from the time you get here to the time you leave.
Right.
But again, definitely not within the confines of any of the village properties.
Yeah, we don't question that either. You know, that's something that we can live with. What we're looking for essentially is some place that we can go, like I work down at the wastewater plant. If I'm out on top of the aeration tanks doing a test, and I have a cigarette, I'm doing a 5-minute test, you know, sitting there watching the machine do a reading.
The only problem I have with that is if you're doing your job and you're taking away from, I used to be a smoker myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm against the ban against cell phones in cars, because you can't talk and drive at the same time. Well, you know what? You know what I feel? You can't talk and smoke at the same time either. So I think they should ban smoking in cars too. Because if they want to go after cell phone users, they should go after cigarette smokers too, because if they drop a cigarette in their lap, what are they going to do? They're going to reach down and grab it. They're taking their eyes off the road. So I feel that, you know, there's a big controversy over that. And if you're just taking your time away from your job, you could have two hands on something instead of having one cigarette in your hand and having it in your mouth and having smoke in your eye, and have, you know, it's a distraction from your job, is what it is. You should always be able to smoke on your break. And nobody should be able to take that away from you.
It
Yeah.
does say in the policy that they can only smoke during break.
Right,
It's stated
right.
Right.
But
And
we
I
get,
don't foresee ever changing that, because if you open the book up and try to put gray areas in there, then you open a whole can of worms. Because everything, it's got to be either black or white and no gray.
well,
I mean,
the
that's-
problem that we have with smoking at the break time, in your break area or your break times, our break time is rolled in with our lunch. So you go from 7 a.m. to 11:30, it's 4.5 hours, and then from 12:30 to 3:30. You know, and I'm a heavy smoker. I don't smoke as heavy as I used to, but you know, it's a situation where, like Albert says, we've got to have it. We don't
Yeah.
necessarily want it. I've tried quitting 100 times, but
I used to be a smoker
You know?
myself, so I know what that
Yeah.
is.
it's
It's hard.
I can, you know, I can smoke and do my job and not have it affect me at all. You know, and I can do the job just as well as the next person beside me or better.
based on
And-
opinion.
based on my opinion and based on showing what I do, so. You
And
know,
there's incidents when we work with other contractors out on the street. And we're waiting for a truck to show up, those guys all light a cigarette, and we have to sit there. As a smoker, it's pretty tough to do.
Yeah,
mhm.
But according to our village policy, we can't light up a cigarette while the contractor that we're working with is smoking a cigarette. And that's happened.
What I'd like to see is the issues that you're bringing up right now as far as what you feel is wrong with policy. Maybe we could get a list of those written down, and then the board can review the whole business. Your concerns and what it actually says in the policy. You know, and if there's things that need clarification, then we'll do it at that point. That's the way I feel. I feel like Albert that we need to give the smokers a place to smoke, but we also need to follow the rules. If it says no smoking in an area, there's probably a reason for it. We have to think about flammable vapors probably down at the wastewater plant that we have to think about. That's something that you need to consider when you're down there. And maybe a flammable vapor from, you know, from the tanks down there and everything. So those things we need to discuss as a board, but also we need to understand what your concerns are with the policy.
Right.
Jim?
I agree that you need a place to smoke. As for smoking in public, I have mixed feelings on that. I know it is a long time to go. My husband was a heavy smoker for a while. I know it's a long time to go without a cigarette. I think it's something that the board needs to discuss a little bit further and not make a quick decision on it tonight. I think it's what Francis said about you guys giving a list, maybe to Donna or Janice, that we can have a little bit of time to talk about amongst the trustees and the mayor, and come back with something as the new year approaches,
We
going
can do
over the
that.
personnel policy and things like that.
Yep, we can do that.
I think that, you know, that would be fair to the board and fair to you.
Mhm.
But I do agree with no smoking in the buildings or the vehicles.
Calm.
I think we're all,
yeah.
I think we're all pretty much on the same thing of having a designated area. I think that needs to come, but it needs to be an area where we're free of hazards. And an area that if a non-smoker doesn't want to go there, non-smoker doesn't have to go there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? For you yourself, if you don't have a cigarette, you want to go into a regular cafeteria, I go out for dinner a lot, and my wife says smoking or smoking, it's up to you. I mean, I can go in the building, have a very nice dinner, and I don't have to sit in the smoking section. You know?
Right.
Before there was no other place that I would sit. But if I can't go 2 hours without a cigarette, or 3 hours without a cigarette, something is wrong, okay? And I've got to that point where you sit where you feel comfortable, and I can do that.
Right.
I think every of us should be able to do that to respect the rights of others. Again, I believe there will be designated places to smoke. But again, like Kim and Francis are saying, if you can bring something up and put it out in writing and let us review it at next month's board meeting, I think that we can come to some terms on it.
We'll have.
What I expect from this committee, the Committee of Smokers, is an area for you to smoke. Now, if you're down at the water plant, I can't see smoking within the perimeter. Okay? Make, be right-hand corner, whatever. The only thing that I find out about smokers, and I don't like smokers for a reason, because a lot of smokers are dirty people.
Mhm.
I myself, when I have a cigarette and it's outside, I field dress my cigarette, I make sure that the butt and everything is back in my pocket, and I put it in an appropriate container when I get back inside. That I believe we should do. If it's a bad habit, we don't need to make it a visual bad habit.
Agreed.
Because it's very disgusting when I even walk into work and I see people with cigarette butts all the way down the sidewalks, all the way down the stuff. I think that's disgusting. Those people don't help themselves at all, okay? So that I would recommend at any time for anybody that does do it outside an area, that does do it outside, to field dress your cigarette and get rid of the butt and what have you in the appropriate container. The ground, I don't think, is an appropriate container when we try to keep our area clean,
Right.
okay? Well, I want to, if there's anything else, I want to thank you very much for coming this evening,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
and have a nice evening.
You too.
I don't have much to say. I'm happy to be here this evening. I'm trying to arrange my committee meetings. I have 8 committees, so that I can attend all my board meetings. Sometimes that's not easy. As far as the county is concerned, I'm serving as chairman of Buildings and Grounds. Our big project is enlarging our jail. I'm meeting tomorrow with our new sheriff, and we're looking at engineering firms. I don't know how many beds we're looking at, if we even know at this point. Because he's new, and he's gonna have to see what his needs are. I know what the previous one wanted, but this might change now. I also serve on the Airport Transition Committee. We're meeting quite frequently. Last week, we looked at sites, the terminal, the flight line. We need to build a new terminal, and that will probably be our first order of business. The engineers have made recommendations, given us 4 options, and there's one we're looking at particularly. It will be, if we can pull it off, near Route 22, but we have to get a cut from Route 22 to the DOT, if they will allow that. And that will be easy access to the terminal once we move.
In the future, is that, it's probably early to speculate, but will this eventually, in the future, be more of a commercial airport than just a small, plain airport? Because of the facility, I'm saying they can land anything they want on it.
We're hoping to have cargo. I've worked closely with the brokerage firms here in Champlain. They're very interested. Right now, they have to ship everything back to Montreal. It comes in Montreal, gets checked in, and back out, because they're the only ones that have a special kind of lift or something. Yes, cargo is.
Because that's gonna be a,
We
that's
need
gonna
the
be a big
revenue.
boost to this general area in the North Country, yes.
We need the revenue in order to be able to afford this, so
Right.
we're going to have to get it somewhere.
Would it be classified as an international airport?
At this point, it is not.
No.
The FAA is not
No,
calling
not
it.
now, but-
Right.
Yeah. Well, even FAA isn't giving, they're giving us funds, but they're not, because of Burlington, closeness of Burlington.
Too close,
So, it may, you know, we're discussing the name right now.
Right.
So, we're working on it, and hopefully in 2 years we'll have a new airport. That's what it's looking like. So far, no glitches. If the money comes, and but we're getting yeses all over.
So what would they do with the old airport?
Sell it. But we can't sell it until it's non-usable. Can't sell public property until it's totally not used by the public, so we can't even go out. We thought we might go out for bid right now, because, you know, the NASCAR people were interested, and we can't do that. We just have to wait.
Right.
And we have Commute Air also. We have to buy out Commute Air's hangar and property. And hopefully they'll move to the new airport, but they're a question mark right now what they're going to do.
Because I've heard that NASCAR at one time was looking at this general area, because it's up. Matter of fact, we're about the same as Loudon, so I think they were looking at that, which I think would be a very big economy boost to our North Country. But that's only my opinion again.
as long as it's not in your backyard.
No, I don't know if I would mind that. It ain't like it happens all the time, you know. But, yeah, it's like anything else. That's why the jets left Plattsburgh, right? Because it bothered it. The cars don't make any more noise than those jets when they come in, okay?
So, I don't know.
Okay,
But
that's
some
fine.
people aren't happy with it, you know, but we'll see what all
Right.
transpires here. So if there are any other issues, you know, don't hesitate to contact me, call me, whatever. I'll try to attend more faithfully. Right now it's looking like I'll have this Monday evening free. I'll try to keep abreast of what's going on here and let you know.
It's very nice to see you come to one of my board meetings.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Would there be anything else?
No, no.
Well, thank you very much again. I'm gonna, mayor's report, I wonder who that is.
Just trying to stall till 7, aren't you?
I'm just gonna make a little bit here. Stall till 7. Again, we as a small village have some really good employees that really get into their job. They really do. We've got a letter from an individual. And it says, many thanks to Larry Sorrell and Jim Andres for helping us to solve the water problem here at housing. They were very thorough in their checking our problem and then advised me. I'll be forever grateful in their courteous advice. Signed Barbara Robbins. It's nice when you get correspondence like this to be brought to the village board, and I at this time want to take the time to commend the village crew. As of this past December, we had a holiday lighting contest. And there were a couple of people in the village gracious enough to go around and judge. And at this time, I want to thank everybody who participated and who put holiday lighting out for outside their homes for the Christmas season and the holiday season. It shows they have this spirit, which the holidays are our big spirit for the year. And I believe these people have been notified. This was put on by NYSEG, and there was three places paid. Third place was Thomas Venn, with issued a $20 certificate. Second place was Kevin McDonald with a $30 certificate. And I hope I don't mispronounce his. First place was Paul Gingrich.
Garrett.
Huh?
Garrett.
Garrett. For first place for a $50 certificate. I want to thank the participants in the village of Champlain, and I also want to take this time to thank New York State Electric and Gas for the awards for this contest. Thank you. I'd like to get a motion to close this regular session and go into public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Connors, seconded by trustee Short. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Before us this evening, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given to the Board of Trustees of the Village of Champlain, New York, will hold a public hearing on January 13th, 2003 at 7 p.m. at the village office, 1104 Route 9 Main Street, Champlain, New York, for the purpose of hearing those in favor or in opposition to the adoption of local law number 1 of 2003 entitled to provide first-time homeowners exemption pursuant to section 457 of the real property law of the state of New York. A copy of the proposed local laws in the following village office where it be examined during regular hours from 7:30 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Would there be anyone here for discussion on our local law number 1 of 2003? Well, at this time, there's no discussion for or in opposition of our local law. I'd like to close this public hearing.
Any motion to close?
Make a motion to close. Second. All in favor? Now we're back in regular session. Now we're back in regular session. We can vote on this law. We ourselves have gone through it, changed some of the numbers on it. Other communities have done this. What in essence this is to try and help people with their first purchase of their new home or a home. The exempt table is in it stating the tax cut, and I believe it's in a 5-year. Yep. So anybody who purchases a home in the village of Champlain first time will be eligible for taxes if they meet the guidelines of this local law. So could I get a motion?
Make that motion.
In a second? Motion, trustee Short, second, trustee Connor. All in favor of adopting local law number 1?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, thank you. At this time, everybody's been copied with a purchase requisition from our superintendent for fiber grate for valve pit at the cost of $325. As our budget shows, our account balance, the money is there to purchase this. Do I get a motion to approve this requisition in a second?
I make that motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee McCauley, second trustee Connor. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I'm going to be bringing up an issue that Superintendent Sullivan and myself have spoke about at length at times. Our pump station at the bottom of our hill here. Mr. Sullivan was gracious enough to get me literature on how the pump works, the design of the pump, the holding tank, and what have you. The thing that I find with it is, and it has an alarm system. Apparently we're having a problem with the alarm system stating that the system is not working. For whatever reason, It might be. I don't know if it's an air block system. Apparently, they have a 70-gallon poly tank. It's mounted in a poly tank, which is supposed to, when it gets to a certain level, it's a pressure switch. Pressure switch is supposed to initiate the pump and pump the sewage out. Well, over the past, we've had 3 or 4 instances where the material itself migrated back into the residence. I got a call. I went up on a Saturday morning, and I spoke to the tenant, and I actually saw what was there, and I thought it was kind of, I didn't believe not warranted. Okay, I was going to call the wastewater committee and have them come down, but what I visually saw, I should be able to pass it on and to the individuals. And if it was my place, I would be very upset. So Mrs. Sullivan has got, is that from Core?
No, this is from, Enviro One is the name of it. The vendor that we were doing business with is Hayes Pump.
Okay, Hayes Pumps, that's what it is. I didn't remember. The literature that was sent up from the organization, they explained the whole operation of it with the pressure switch and blah, 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 blah. But a troubleshooting issue is something that I think we need to know a little bit more about. What I'm saying this for is the board is, there is a problem there that has been ongoing. So we ourselves as the board need to address this. So I'm asking the board, or I'm telling the board right now, that we are going to be looking for more information on this. Mr. Sullivan said he has a breakdown of the pump and what it is. Apparently they may not be of help, but it is a problem that we have, and we need to address it. Yes, Mr. Sullivan.
Mr. Wetzel, the man who sent me this, said it would, he'll send some more stuff out by mail, he'll send some more information. That pressure switch works on minute changes of pressure.
And it says it's a bulb switch, a bulb pressure switch.
Yeah, so it compresses it, that's all it does.
The bellows,
A bellows of some kind.
Right.
It's when you,
diaphragm.
Right, the more pressure, it collapses it, and then it'll trigger it to,
at the time that this happened, this last time, there was no water in the reservoir. The water was trickling in very slowly, you could hear it, just like somebody had a tap on. And when we moved, actually Larry Sorrell moved the pump, the water gushed in, which tends to make me think something was obstructing the way the water is getting into the wastewater is getting in. Or there was something in there that was large enough not to allow it to function properly. We didn't pull the pump the rest of the way out. It worked, and it pumped us out, everything down.
so what you're saying is probably that there was something clogged that wouldn't get it, because actually that pump has grinders in it, small grinders
Yes,
in
it
it.
does. We've had problems in the past. We did have it burn up one time, and we found some stringy cloth material in it. And I think what happened is the pump shut off at a very inopportune time, and it wouldn't start again. It had jammed it, locked the rotor, wouldn't start, and burnt the pump out.
Is there some type of backflow preventer that could be installed, so
That's not a tremendous idea in wastewater. It really wouldn't change what happened down Sullivan anyway.
No,
It was-
because we are looking for information to try and correct this problem. And I think we need a little bit more information before
Well,
we do
I
it.
spoke to
But I
the,
want to bring it up to the boards, the member of the boards, that we have been having this problem, and this is not the first time.
I spoke to the owner of the property. It's a rental property. And I thought if I concocted an electric switch, a double contact switch, so that we could put it someplace in the plumbing, the discharge plumbing from the house, sanitary sewage from the house. And the water started to back up, it would close a contact and ring a bell in the house.
A level switch or
A
something.
level
level
switch of some
switch.
sort. He wasn't,
Pre-switch before actual, yes.
Right.
but he wasn't very, he didn't particularly care for that idea. And I don't, so that makes me scratch my head and wonder what else I can do. I mean, that would solve a problem. He said, well, what's that gonna do for people who turn on the washing machine and walk out? Nothing. I mean, I don't do that at home. My wife doesn't do it at home, but a lot of people evidently do. Just walk away and leave it running. Nothing's gonna help you. If you have a plug up, if something stops, nothing's gonna help you.
Well, yeah, like I said, I just wanted to bring it up to the Board of Seating, stating that we are waiting for more information on this, and, we will get back to him on it. I expected that individual to be here this evening, because I invited the individual personally to be here. But I just wanted to bring that up to everybody's attention, that we do have a problem when we're looking into it. I, at this time, would like to be called for an executive session after our regular board meeting this evening. At this time, I would like to make a statement to the general public that this year is, again, election year in March. And for the people out there, this year we are there will be 2 trustee seats up for election this year, and the mayor as well. Our elections will be March 18th. And on that same token, we have a resolution to bring up for registration day. Try and get some to the border. People on paper. So I'm going to read this notice of voter registration day for the village of Champlain. And as see fit, I would like the trustees to fill in the blanks. At a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Champlain, held on January 13, 2003, the following resolution was offered by trustee, who's going to offer this?
Sure.
Trustee Connor. Seconded by trustee
Aldi.
Ricaldi, who moves its adoption and is duly carried unanimously. Whereas the next general village election of officers of the village of Champlain will be held on March 18, 2003, and whereas no person shall be entitled to vote at any village election whose name does not appear on the register of the election district in which he claims to be entitled to vote. And whereas it is the duty of the inspectors of election to prepare such register of qualified voters for the district for which they are appointed, and whereas section 516 of the election law of the state of New York requires that every village hold a registration day for each general village election. Now it hereby be resolved that, first, recognition day for the village shall be held on Saturday, March 8th, 2003. Second, such registration will be held at the village office 1104 Route 9, Main Street, Champlain, from 12 noon until 5 p.m. Third, voting for the forthcoming village elections should be conducted at the village office, 1104 Route 9, Main Street, Champlain, New York. Fourth, at least 10 days prior to the registration day set in this resolution, a copy of such resolution shall be published in official newspaper, and a copy thereof shall be posted in at least one conspicuous public place in such election district. Fifth, this resolution shall take effect immediately. So do I get a motion and a second for our village registration? Motion, trustee Short. Second, trustee Trombley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, by unanimous. Thank you. Two more things that I have this evening. It was running through my mind about spaces in the village and using village space and what have you. Next door, there's a police department office that is not being used. To whatever reason is in existence, I think we need to know. Is it a catch-all? Is it a storage? The files that are in there, can they be moved to the justice's office where they should actually be? Because my proposal is to put that room into the mayor's office with a desk, so he can have his own filing cabinet for papers. I'm not saying that the trustees don't have, but they can use it as well. And I believe if that is so, I see justice hours on the doors. Sometimes people have a hard time to get here, but eventually set up off hours for people in the village that would like to speak to or address the mayor for certain items. Set up a couple times a month from 6 to 8 in the evening. That way we can be more abreast of what the village has to say. It's only a thought on my part. Before this all does come to pass, the cost of renovating that room, the cost of putting a door from this room to that room, because there's no sense of going around. It should either be an egress over there or over here or what have you to get into the office, especially for the staff. I just want to bring that up this evening and let everybody think about it. And if this is anything that would be feasible, we will talk to it in our further. Nonetheless than saying that, the last thing I have is to set up our budget meetings. We have a budget to put in place for 2003-2004. And I believe it has to be all in place and written by the 20th of March, I believe, or somewhere within that time limit. Right. So as we had a lot of budget meetings last year, we did, I think, a very good job as a board with the budget preparation last year. We proved to cut a lot of the budget. But again, I'm reading the county legislators in the town, in the city, and actually Trustee Connor was talking about insurance purposes. Insurance purposes are killing all. Medicaid. We have other issues on top of this. So my opinion is I would like to set up some times right now to set up some budget meetings. I prefer it on a Monday evening. It seems like I think most of us prepare Monday evenings for whatever we might need to do. Could I get some opinion of the board, please?
I think Mondays, personally for me, are good. I think that's what we've done in the past. And guess there's no time like the present to begin.
That's right. My feelings exactly. I would like to, we will probably not need as many meetings as we done last year. I would wait for Mrs. Dawson to set us up where we are with our previous budget. And we can go through our own paperwork and find that. There should be some accounts that probably have excessive money in them. And I know that looking through mine, there are some that don't have enough money in them. I would like just to have a general overview of those accounts. Seeing where we are. I would like to have something like that in place for our first budget meeting. Is there any other recommendation of the board?
Usually we, from the different department heads.
Right.
We receive written budget proposals, what they would like to see in the upcoming budget. I don't
Right.
think we've really received anything as of yet.
Nope.
We usually send a notice out with a deadline, we haven't done that yet, so
Right.
we need a deadline.
Okay. So what I'm looking for is, this is the 13th, the 20th is next week, the 27th is the week after. I would like to schedule our first budget meeting for the 17th of January. Give them 2 weeks to get all the paperwork that they need.
27th?
20th.
The 27th of January, yeah.
You said 17th.
Oh, excuse me, the 27th. I would like to do it have our first budget meeting the 27th of this month. And every Monday night after, until we get our budget in place. That's my recommendation. That doesn't mean it has to be.
I agree.
You agree? I think we need to do it.
Yeah.
And get it up. That way it gives everybody a chance to look at different issues. Do you agree? Yeah.
If we get a jump on it, we can spend our time looking closely at some
At
of
the
items.
issues, right. Okay then, so Mrs. Dawson, we'll schedule our first budget meeting the 27th of January. And they will run every Monday night after that until we're satisfied with the budget.
6:30?
6:30? 6:30 is fine. Now that I put everybody in.
Excluding the regular monthly meetings, right?
Right, excluding the regular monthly meetings. Yeah. Well, I figure 1, 2, 3, our next meeting will be the 17th of February, no, it'll actually be the 10th of February. Yeah, except for a regular meeting. Thank you very much, and that's for me, that's it for me this evening. Trustee Connor.
Okay, you kind of discussed it, but I think we need a letter sent to the department heads saying that we need their budgets probably within the next 10 days so we can get something to look at before our first meeting.
Yep.
And we'll go from there. This time I don't have anything else. I'm sure there'll be other things as we get into correspondence.
Okay. Thank you, trustee. Trustee Short.
Yeah, nothing at this time. I just apologize for being a few minutes late.
Thank you, trustee.
Had a fish tank problem.
Trustee McCaldy.
I just wanted to follow up on one item from last week, or last month, when we said that Kingsley Power was taking steps to correct the problem with the motherboard. Where are we with that?
Did you see the letter I sent out?
There's a letter that came in the mail.
Evidently, Kohler is has dropped the ball to some extent on Kingsley.
Supporting it?
They're not doing the job they should be doing. So Kinsley asked me if I would write a letter voicing our displeasure, and I have done that.
Okay.
Because he's saying now we're going into our second month of,
Non-operation,
Non-operation,
the way
which
it's
is-
supposed to be.
So we haven't replaced the board, and we haven't...
Oh, yes. Oh, they've replaced the board, and then they replaced the board.
and then they're gonna replace the
It
board.
won't acknowledge the software. There's something pretty drastically wrong with it.
Just so people understand, that's our generator that we
Right.
have back here.
For the
We're
building.
having difficulties with that, not
Yeah.
operating as per design.
Yeah, the automatic switchover. Transfer. We could run the generator, and we can get power to this
Facility, but not
facility, but
automatically.
it wouldn't be automatic the way it's supposed to be.
So we,
It would be a hairy situation doing it as well. You know, you're talking about opening a board and sticking your hand in a 240 volt and working the automatic switch by hand.
By manual switch.
Should not be done that way.
so what did the letter contain? I'm just trying to get some...
Get copy.
Yeah, I don't know.
We also did just a lot of, I wrote it.
It was a brief letter.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
brief one,
It kind of explains where we are, what we are,
right here.
and that it doesn't work.
I got one. Okay, that's the letter. That was in our box this evening.
I didn't go in the box to see the that's why I don't have
I'm
it.
sorry,
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that sense. I lost faith and patience. And I would too. When you're sold a unit, yes.
Well,
We bought it in good faith.
and the company who
For the
sold it
purpose.
to us has every intention of making it right. But if they can't, if their support doesn't come from the people who make it, they're having a problem. And we asked them, we wouldn't mind doing it, and we didn't have any problem.
Yeah, we need to stay on top of this. I mean, we paid some good money for that.
Yes, we did.
We need to make sure this is corrected. If we don't hear anything very soon, let me know.
Do you think the letter was adequate?
Yeah,
It was very concise and to the point, but
Right.
not really abrupt. It was nice.
Okay, this went on Friday or today.
It was
Stated Friday.
Yeah.
The letter was politically correct.
Oh, maybe it didn't.
Oh, we got it mailed
Oh, it went out today.
today.
Says right here.
So if we don't hear anything by, say, next Monday, well, they should have it by the end of the week.
Oh, yeah. We will.
Yeah,
yeah, we need to pursue this.
I'll stay on it.
Get a contact with somebody from
Have
Cole.
they been completely paid for this already?
Yes.
Mhm. Yes, they
I
have.
asked that question Friday.
I sent it to the, you buy it from the vendor.
Yeah, I know. All right.
Is that it, trustee McCulley?
Yes, that's it.
Trustee Trombley.
Oh, no.
Thank you, trustee Trombley. The report of clerk treasurer.
I copied each of you with a revenue and expenditure report for the month of December. Which will also help us in our budget, show you what accounts are going.
Uh,
I've done the water and sewer billing For January 1st, 2003, for the months of October, November, and December, the water billing is in the amount of $38,755.50. And the sewer is $66,162.36. And I just thought I would mention, you mentioned the election coming up for the mayor, 2 trustees.
Right.
If anyone is interested in running, we have packets made in the office with petition and with instructions, dates, timeframes, the whole bit. So if anyone's interested, you'd be happy here, ready to go. And
Again, the clerk treasurer just brought to our attention, if anybody is interested in running for office this year, they can stop into the village. They have a packet that needs to be done and the rules to how it needs to be applied for any individual that might be considering running for office. Thank you again, Mrs. Dawson.
And that's all I have.
We will save this for our budget meeting. Report of superintendent.
Well, you have my written report. There's a lot of other stuff. If you have any questions.
I read your report through. I'll let you speak.
I see the gutters were put on.
Yes.
The gutters. And what about you said the rest of it's gonna be done probably when
In
warmer
this-
weather gets here?
When warmer weather gets here.
So by putting the gutters on now, doesn't impact the other work?
No.
Okay.
The gutters that he did are only the ones on the front, and that was to stop the icing problem we had, so that's done.
And that's all we paid for, was just the gutter?
We haven't paid for anything.
Okay. That's all I have.
I see your upcoming work. I want to question this, and we do it this year, and I noticed that you brought to my attention, to the board's attention, that it seems like in the past, we always wait till the fall of next year to take down Christmas decoration if we're gonna buy more.
Right.
If we're gonna buy more, we need to buy more, and we need to set up the power boxes for it, is what I'm getting out of this,
That's correct.
okay?
Rather than wait until
Right.
the first week in November, and then you have to have full attachment agreements.
See what
Goes on and on.
and I think Superintendent Sullivan was wise bringing it up. If we tend on doing it, we should do it now, because this is actually one of our slower seasons, except for plowing and moving snow. But usually when we get nice weather, we really don't have the time to play with this. My thing is there any money in the budget for more decorations?
Yes, usually I would purchase them right after the holidays and everything.
Right. So, I think if we are going to, I think we should. And I think we should adjust the power boxes to where they're gonna be situated at this time of the year.
Good.
Now, that could be, now that's up for discussion with the board. Because I know that we do purchase them, and this year I've got more than a lot of good comments of the street lighting that we had this year with the new snowflakes, and I mean, it really does make the village more presentable around the holiday season.
I don't think we had any of the old ones up this year.
What do we have, do you know what we have available for dollars? Janice?
We put in 1,500. We spent 500. Well, we did take some flowers out of there in the spring, but no, I guess we take this out of next year's budget. No, $1,000. Usually if you buy one with the half price, you buy two, get one free, or
On a special.
some special.
You know, I'd like to leave some contingency. I'd like to leave something, you know, like $200 or $100 or what have you for flowers or what have you. Or use
That's what I'm talking
use that for our decoration and our power box. There is an expense to put up those power boxes, there not?
The flower boxes?
No, the power
Oh,
boxes.
the power boxes. Power boxes cost as much as the ornaments.
Okay, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know,
So whatever the cost of the ornament is and the power box, you need to divide that into whatever you can pick up. If you can pick up 4 of them, you pick up 4 of them. You pick up 3 of them, you pick up 3 of them. You know, because we want to keep within that budgeted area. Would that be the approval of the board for him to do that? I don't think we need a motion to do that.
No, it's a budget.
Yeah, they
it's a
just
budget
wanna-
item.
So if you feel fit, you need to look into this, because I thought that was, and again, I want to thank you for bringing that up, because we would be doing that again. Would there be any other questions for Superintendent Sullivan? Pre-registration form for Ronald Houston, Village of Champlain. Now, this is the New York Rural Water Association, so he will be contact hours on the water plant.
right. He requested that, he wanted to go to this class. He's got it.
Okay, now, again, we put, again, I'll iterate that I believe in training more than I do a lot of things. There's money in the budget for this?
Yes.
Well, I would like to have a motion in place to, in a second, to send Mr. Ron Houston to, and it's gonna be, I believe, Lake George. Lake George, and pay for his mileage, unless he uses the company vehicle, the village vehicle, to this, water training.
Make that motion.
Motion trustee Short, second trustee Trombley, all in favor?
I don't know what else.
Aye.
Abstain.
I didn't get that. Probably Irish, I don't know what we, I know there's somebody.
I don't want to, but we will get into an executive session.
Could you hold
Explain
this?
something.
Just a second. I'd like to send two. I'd like to send him as Larry Sorrell. We have money enough there. It's very rare that we get classes that are,
That close for that?
yeah,
Right.
you know, there's nothing, that once you're into the Adirondacks, we're in Canada, you know.
Right. If the money is there,
It is.
can we just, is it the board's approval that we add Larry Sorrell to that motion?
I don't have any problem with
It's the others.
it. Second.
Motion, second, add Larry Sorrell to that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And we were presented with record of renewal training for Mr. Sullivan. The contact hours of 10.75.
That's from the NICOM conference that I
Right.
went to.
2001, 2002 Nikon Public Works Training School at Placid.
And he was there because they took his picture.
Yeah, they took his picture, we know he was there, so we didn't waste the money. Okay, has anybody else got to, any of the board members get to review, that gully procedure that Mr. Sullivan has so graciously put in our hands? Cost benefit analysis for Pine Street collapse.
I think
Which-
you have one of these too.
Yes, we do.
Which we just got.
Yeah, well, that's, this is just a lot of stuff, but what I wrote is,
I just wanted everybody to know of it, so they could read it.
familiarization.
There's a lot of ideas in there, there's a lot of things I don't understand, but is there anything else for Superintendent Sullivan this evening? If not, let's move on to correspondence.
Item 1 in correspondence is a signed contract from Public Health Consultants to research our electricity charges for us, at no cost. Item 2 is a hazard mitigation grant program letter of intent.
Regarding supply street.
Item 3 is correspondence from the Clinton County Health Department regarding our water quality report. And item 4 is a response to Lee Mitchell regarding the same.
Right.
Item 5 is correspondence from the State Department of Public Service offering more information on the electricity supply choices. Item 6 is more information regarding the electricity supply choices. And that's what it is.
I would like to take the time to thank Trustee McCuldy for all the work that was done on it. I myself did some, and I had other individuals do some. From what I can see, and I believe what Trustee McCuldy has come up with is, I think all of these people talked real close before they did this. Talking with Trustee McCuldy, he figured even changing to one of them, the one that would have been a best, he'd probably save $20 a year. So, it was nice that the opportunity was put in place. I will leave it at that.
Item 7 is correspondence from the Champlain Fire District informing us they have hired someone to plow their facilities.
And I'd like to just interject something about that. If there happens to be a problem with that, I think that we as the municipality, if there's a problem where they can't, if there's real big snow and they can't get through, I think we might be able to assist in making sure that area is clean for emergency personnel. That's just a feeling. I think that all of us agree with that on the word.
Yes.
Okay, just to bring that up, so if the issue does come up and anything does come up, I believe you have the board's approval to try and help them get that stuff out of the way so our emergency.
All we have to do is call.
Okay, thank you.
Item 8 is memo from Superintendent Sullivan regarding the burning of brush in the village from a village resident.
Does that need an explanation?
I think it's all written right here for the board members. See, we have a no burning policy in the village. By looking at the reason for it, I think it warrants ample addressing. I would like opinion of some of the board members.
I think the fire chief should inspect the area for one thing. Make sure there isn't any hazard. Then we don't want to set a precedence either of burning within the village limits, or we're going to have a lot of requests to do so.
Right.
I have a concern that it's going to infringe upon other residents as far as smoking, that type of thing. If it is going to happen, or it does happen, I don't want to say it happens, but that way, that by burning this brush is going to infringe on any way or matter to other residents. I mean, we do have a policy that there's no burning within the village, and you start making exceptions, and like Trustee McCuldy says, you're going to have other people asking for the same thing. I don't know if it's necessarily a good idea. If there's something there, it can be hauled away, done elsewhere.
Understand, I only did this because I thought I could articulate it better for them. That's the only reason why
That's
I
fine.
did it.
Good points, well brought up. You're right. Trustee Short.
I feel if it's needs to be burned, and if it's you know, an area that has to be burned, that it could be a controlled burn, maybe be assisted by the fire department, where they would get a permit to do.
There would be never any burning without
A permit.
control.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's another issue. That wouldn't even take place. Okay?
Mhm.
You concerned? Trustee Tomlin?
I agree with Chuck. If this can be possibly cut down and hauled away, I think that's maybe a better option. If you set a precedent for one, then you're gonna have other people who are possibly gonna want to do things of that nature to clear out brush, and if you do it for one, you need to do it for others. You don't necessarily want to start doing that. I certainly wouldn't want smoke blowing through my backyard.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, then, we have a burning policy. I actually think this needs to come up to a vote. And again, it's a board decision. Everybody has their own feelings about it. Will the village of Champlain give permission to this homeowner, landowner, to burn his brush line? Trustee Short. You don't know.
Next.
Trustee Connors? No. Trustee Trombley? No.
No.
No. 1, 2, 3 no's. You will have to let this resident know that there will be no burning in the village of Champlain, and it's the recommendation of the board that he haul it to his property.
Fine with me.
Okay?
Item nine.
And, excuse me,
Sorry.
excuse me. And if the resident is not pleased with the decision, he may have the opportunity to come to the next board meeting and present a different case. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Dawson.
It'll be done in the form of a letter, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
Item 9 is correspondence from Experience Works, informing us of their programs.
I see this used to be known as Green Thumb. Yeah, I can remember Green Thumb.
Item 10 is a blanket purchase order from Wyatt for issues of sludge for the year 2003, which we introduced our budget. Item 11 is the sewer line agreement with Joseph and Eleanor Killian, which has been filed. Item 12 is the second letter from Plattsburgh North Country Chamber of Commerce offering various on-site safety training seminars.
So we had that big packet last month. See, they have lockout, tag out. They have a lot of safety and safety, working safety, ergonomics, personal protective equipment, PPE gear. And we are into our safety program.
There's only one thing that I have to say about this. I mean, I like the whole idea of these. I really do. We also need credit hours. Those guys have certifications. And if you're gonna pay for a class, you should be paying for a class that
Gets hours.
gives you hours,
Right.
gives you, you know, contact.
Contact hours in the area, yeah.
Now,
Well,
that's
I'm-
not too hard to do yet.
The thing of it is, unless, this is a recommendation of superintendent is, if these are not contact hour courses, we should be looking for different avenues.
Well, let them, that's all they have to do is give them an outline of what their course of instruction is. You send it down to, trying to think of the name of it. Anyway, it's the people who control the water, Department of State Department of Health.
Right.
Am I all right? And same thing with DEC. And they will certify the credit hours, contact hours.
Right.
Not very difficult to do, but it needs to be done.
Okay. Would you address them on this and find out if there's anything that they could do to give us contact hours for this, stating so? Because you're right. If we're gonna pay for something, it needs to be beneficial, and it needs to be put in our folder with the personnel for contact hours. Again, I believe in training, but we gotta be able to have it in some areas where we need to have contact hours. Okay, Mr. Dawson.
Okay, item 13 is the 2002 annual water system inspection report from the Champlain County Health Department. Item 14 is a resolution regarding registration day, which we've already addressed. Item 15 is a building code effectiveness grading schedule from the Insurance Services Office Incorporated. And 16 is correspondence from Attorney Keeble to the county treasurer regarding the downtown property that's been in question under old businesses. Handle that for us. And that's it for correspondence.
Thank you. Ms. Dawson. On to old business. I think that we have the number one, Plattsburgh North Country Chamber of Commerce and Training Sessions. I think we've just addressed that. I think Superintendent Sullivan is going to see what can become of, if there's anything for certification of contact hours. Our zoning laws, again, are in our attorney's hands, waiting to finalize our new zoning laws. And correspondence number 16 coincides with old business number 3, taxes on property attorney handling. Is there any new business to come before the board this evening? And if not, do we have the presentation of the warrant? Do we have any additional to be added to the warrant this
I
evening?
have just one bill this evening, and it's to be payable to Tops in the amount of $46.04. There are 3 different invoices here, 2 of them for ice in the amount of $10.32, and the other is basically paper products.
So the whole,
It's basically that for $24.
the whole voucher is 4604.
$46.04.
And we have a motion to add this 4604 to our warrant this evening. Motion by trustee Connor,
Second.
second trustee McCauley. All in favor? Aye. Now, may we have a motion to pay our warrant? Madam Clerk? motion trustee Short, second trustee Trombley. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session. Motion to go into executive session. Oh, I need a motion to close regular meeting. Motion to close regular, Jim Trombley. Second. I need a motion to go into executive session.
Make that motion.
Trustee Short, motion.
Second.
Trustee McCully, thank you.